I'm going to tell you about the dumbest decision I ever made. At least that's what everyone called it. I walked away from guaranteed money, stable income, relatable clients, the safe path. And I did it before I had a plan B, before I had savings, before I knew if the thing I was betting on would even work. My family thought I was having a breakdown. My friends told me to be realistic. One guy literally said, "You're throwing your life away." And honestly, they were not wrong. It was objectively stupid. No backup plan, no safety net, no proof it would work. Just a gut feeling that the safe path was actually the dangerous one. That decision made me over $500,000 the first year. And today I'm gonna break down exactly why dumb decisions like that tend to work. When they work and when they don't. Because here's the thing. The line between visionary and idiot is just the outcome. Let me show you what I mean. So why burning the boats is the smartest strategy nobody has the guts to use. The decision that changed everything. So back in 2021, I walked away from $15,000 per month in guaranteed revenue. Stable clients, predictable income, the kind of setup that most people spend years trying to build. I give it up all to pursue something that did not exist. No proof of concept, no waiting customers, no guarantee it would work. Just a hypothesis and a burning conviction that the safe path was actually a trap. By every conventional measure, this was idiotic. 18 months later, that idiotic decision has generated over $500,000 in revenue in my first year, to be clear, and completely transformed my business. The security paradox. Here's what most people don't understand about security. The safer you feel, the less you grow. When you have a fallback, you hold back. It's human nature. You don't go all in a new offer because the old one is still paying the bills. You don't fully commit to pivot because you can always retreat to what's working before. You don't burn the boats because, well, what if you need the boats? But that safety net isn't protecting you, it's constraining you. Here's the security spectrum. So what security feels like, stability, but what it actually is stagnation. Protection really is a ceiling on growth. Comfort zone is really the danger zone if you think about it. And being smart is really sometimes being scared. And here's the paradox. The thing that feels like it's keeping you safe is often the thing that's keeping you small. I want you to really sit with this for a second. The thing that you think is keeping you safe might be the thing keeping you stuck. That job, that client, that revenue stream you're afraid to lose. It's not security, it's a ceiling. Because as long as you have a fallback, you'll never go all in. You'll always hold back. And in business and in life, holding back is how you lose. The people who win are the ones that have no choice but to win. Not because they're smarter, because they burn the boats. The burn the boats principle. So in 1519, Hernan Cortez landed in Mexico with 600 men to face an empire of millions. His first order, burn the ships. Not because he was crazy, because he understood human psychology. When retreat is possible, retreat is inevitable. When retreat is impossible, you find a way forward. That's amazing. This isn't recklessness, it's a strategic commitment. The boats weren't an asset, they were an escape hatch. And escape hatches drain your energy, split your focus, and guarantee mediocrity. The commitment equation pretty much goes as such. Half equals half results. Full commitment equals exponential results. There's no linear relationship between commitment and outcome, and it's not like putting 70% of effort gets you 70% of the results. You either cross the threshold or you don't. And most people never cross it because they always leave themselves a way out. Here's the math of regret. Jeff Bezos calls it the regret minimization framework. Before making any major decision, he projects himself to age 80 and asks, will I regret not doing this? If the answer is yes, he does it, regardless of the risk. And here's why it works. There's two types of regret. Regret of action. I tried it and it didn't work. Painful in the short term, fades over time. It becomes a story of courage, and at least I tried. Versus regret of inaction. I never took the shot. Comfortable in the short term, intensifies over time, and it does become a source of shame sometimes, and then you always be wondering, what if? Research consistently shows that people regret the things they didn't do far more than the things they did. The pain of failure is temporary. The pain of what if is permanent. So here's what I think about when I'm scared to make a move. I think about being 80 years old, looking back at this moment, and I ask myself, what would I regret more? Trying and failing, or never trying at all? The answer is always the same. I've never met an old person who regretted taking a shot, but I've met plenty of people who regretted playing it safe. The pain of failure is temporary. The pain of what if lasts forever. The survival mechanism. So here's what happens when you burn the boats. You unlock a version of yourself you've never met. Now that's exciting stuff. When failure isn't an option, your brain operates differently. You become more creative, more resourceful, more relentless. Not because you're suddenly smarter, because you have no choice but to figure it out. And here's a hidden gear. Every person has a hidden gear they've never accessed. It only activates under specific conditions. When the stakes are real, when the retreat is impossible, when survival depends on success. You can't access the gear when you're comfortable. You can't even manufacture it with motivation or discipline. It only shows up when you've eliminated every other option. So what changes when you burn the boats? Before safety, then here's after. So before, I'll try this and see what happens. After, right? I will make this work or die trying. Energy split between the old and the new. 100% energy on the new path after you burn the boats. Before, quit when it gets hard. After, find a way when it gets hard. Before, problems are obstacles. After, problems are puzzles to solve. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't scary. The first few months after I made that decision, I questioned myself every single day. There were nights I couldn't sleep, moments I almost went crawling back. But something happens when you have no other option. You find a gear you didn't know you had. Creative, you get resourceful, and you get relentless. Because you have to. That's not something you can manufacture when you have a safety net. It only shows up when the safety net is gone. So let's talk about when not to burn the boats, right? I'm not advocating for blind recklessness here, to be clear. There's a difference between strategic risk and stupidity. Now, you don't burn the boats when you haven't validated the core hypothesis at all. You're running away from something and not towards something, right? That's a little bit more on the personal side. The decision is driven by emotion and not conviction. You have dependents who would suffer from the downside. You haven't thought through the worst case scenario. Now, you can go all in and burn the boats when you have some evidence that the new path can work. The safety net is genuinely holding you back. You've done the regret minimization math. You can survive the worst case scenario, and your gut is screaming you to move. Now, here's the dumb decision framework. Before making any dumb decisions, okay, run it through these filters. The 80-year-old test. Project yourself to 80. Will you regret not doing this? If yes, do it. And then the survivability test. If this completely fails, can you survive it? If you won't be homeless or dead, the downside is manageable. Worst case scenario, usually people think it's maybe just crashing at a friend's couch or going back to live with your parents. That's usually most downsides. And here's a ceiling test. Is your current path capping your potential? If staying safe means staying small, safety is the real risk. The conviction test. Is this a clear-headed decision or an emotional reaction? Conviction persists, emotion fades. The asymmetry test. Is the upside significantly bigger than the downside? The best dumb decisions have asymmetric payoffs, like limited downside, unlimited upside. And the real risk. And here's what I've learned. The biggest risk isn't taking the leap. It's never taking it. It's arriving at 80 with a list of what ifs instead of a collection of stories. It's optimizing for comfort and ending up with regret. It's letting fear make your decisions for you. The smart path isn't smart if it leads to a mediocre life. The dumb path isn't dumb if it leads to everything you actually want. The line between visionary and idiot is just the outcome. The only way to get to the outcome is to make the move. So what's your dumb decision? So here's what I want to leave you with. I'm not telling you to be reckless. I'm not telling you to quit your job tomorrow, but I'm asking you to question your definition of safe. Because sometimes a safe path is the most dangerous one. Sometimes security is just stagnation with good marketing. And sometimes the dumbest decision you could make is the smartest thing you'll ever do. The question isn't, what if this doesn't work? The question is, what if it does and you've never tried? That's the question that haunts people. Don't let it haunt you. Thank you very much.